It doesn't get much more American than that. Welcome back, everybody. Clint here today, excited to be talking to you about what a battle rifle it is, why it's the FAL, and why that is just superior than anything and everything else ever made. All right, but on a for real note, what is a battle rifle? Let's go ahead and clear the air about something really quick, because I think a lot of people have a misconception that things like assault rifles don't exist when they actually do. What is an assault rifle? An assault rifle is a classification of firearm that fires an intermediate cartridge, something like, I don't know, 5.56, your typical round found in the M16, M4, AR-15. It is magazine fed, and it is select fire in nature. In other words, it is not semi-auto, which is one bang per trigger pull. No, it is multiple bangs per trigger pull. That is an assault rifle. Those do exist. That's just a classification of another rifle, just like bolt action rifle, just like submachine gun or pistol caliber carbine, or in this case, a battle rifle. The battle rifle is probably my favorite classification of rifle because they are just, for one, they're often misunderstood. Because a lot of people look at them and say they just don't have any place on the modern battlefield, which is funny. Because the battle rifle that you see right here in front of me, this M1 Garand, has been noted to be, by General Patton, the greatest battle implement ever devised. What makes this a battle rifle? For one, you've seen different variations of this firearm. You've seen tanker versions, which have a shorter barrel. You've seen DMR versions, which actually have scopes on them and cheek risers and things like that. And you've seen them just like this right here. Basic, simple, beautifully crafted. And what makes it a battle rifle? Mainly its entire purpose, why it exists. To be on the front lines and to ultimately be a force multiplier at the end of the day. What was a standard issue rifle, the M1 Garand, which eventually kind of became the M14, like what you see right here with my Springfield Armory M1A, but this is more of a DMR setup, which could be switched out to be more of a battle rifle setup, but again, we'll talk about that. But the battle rifle itself, this is what makes it a battle rifle. This is a high power or full power cartridge, rifle cartridge, being 30-06. In the FAL and the M1A/M14's case, 308. Very similar cartridges. It's just that the 308's a little bit more neck down. A little bit smaller cartridge than the 30-06 of, well, the great-grandfather years with the M1 Garand and the 1903 and whatnot. The battle rifle, at the end of the day, as I've already mentioned, is a little misunderstood because a lot of people will say, well, let's see why they quickly moved away from the M14 when it was adopted in the 1950s to the M16, which was a lighter, newer platform. One of the many reasons is weight and how many rounds can you carry? Because capacity, as I have often said, especially for home defense and concealed carry, capacity is a pretty big deal. What you often found to be the standard capacity for a battle rifle setup is about 20 rounds, something you'd find in a box magazine like this. Most modern magazines today, take any Magpul, PMag for your AR-15, 30 rounds is kind of the standard. And so you've already got, well, a third more ammunition, which is sometimes needed, but you've also have found that the capabilities of the 5.56 versus, let's say, the 308 in this case, though you could shoot more, that also might mean you need a little bit more to take out your intended threat. You saw during the Vietnam War just the amount of rounds it would take to equate to one kill of an enemy combatant is incredible. Granted, that's because a lot of times the trees were talking, you couldn't see what you were shooting at, and you were just spraying and praying that you would actually hit said target, so that way you could survive to only be punctured by some sort of turd-covered booby trap. That sucks. Now, with all that being said, here's where I think the battle rifle is often misunderstood, because a lot of people say they're big, they're heavy, you get into a firefight, you quickly realize that the 190 rounds of 308 that you had goes very, very fast, and that's why you want 5.56. Just like the shotgun is often misused, and when people say, I just want a shotgun for home defense, I'm like, that hurts me because a lot of people think they don't have to do much. You know, all they got to do is rack it and it scares people away, or you know, I don't even have to aim. All I got to do is just point in that general direction and body parts go flying or something like that. A lot of misconceptions. You take the shotgun, you take the battle rifle, and you implement them in a team environment where they excel. Now you have a force multiplier and not a liability, or an ego booster because you just think that you have the larger round, so therefore you've got more devastating power, or because you have a shotgun you don't really have to aim, you just point in a general direction. That's not how any of this works. So the battle rifle is a beautiful concept, one of which that we start to see kind of come back and back and back and forth, and yes and no and yes and no. But like I said, in a team environment, take a look at like the SCAR, take a look at whatever the SIG M7 is doing. You see these guns that at the end of the day, they played a role that, again, as a force multiplier, which means you're taking the capabilities and multiplying them beyond the standard, which is what you want in a combat role. In a squad, for instance, you have somebody outfitted with a 308 battle rifle, you have somebody outfitted with a DMR, you have somebody outfitted with an M4, multiple people with an M4, so that way you have a wide variety of different battle spaces covered. Let's say you've got guys that need to do some room clearing. You can have Overwatch with your DMR and your battle rifle guy. Let's say you've got targets beyond the capabilities of the standard M4. Insert battle rifle and DMR. Again, the battle rifle as one of my favorites simply because there is a lot of power here. Simply because this is going to be a little bit more barrier blind to a lot of your standard issue rifle barriers. What I mean by that is the 308 can puncture more than what the 5.56 can. So if you've got multiple enemy combatants in a concrete building and the 5.56 is just chipping blocks of concrete away, the 308 will go through that. So again, a force multiplier. That's why the battle rifle is just so cool. And as I've said multiple times, just misunderstood. Is it something that I would go to for home defense? No, I'm not going to go for a 308 for home defense. Is it something that I would like to take to the field with me? Probably not. Why? Because it's heavy. But is it something that I want in my reserves, knowing that I could have it, or at least have somebody outfitted with it in a team environment? Again, just to elevate our status on the battlefield? Absolutely. And that's why I think it's often misunderstood. Other than that though, the biggest thing is they are so much fun to shoot. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Like, it's just like, you know, like it just feels so good. It's like, just like I said, just raw power, man. And I can't get over it. So let me know what you guys think. The DS Arms SA58, the battle rifle. You guys want to see more of this? Because I want to shoot it more. So let me know. Do you want a complete review of my battle rifle setup? Because all this was an intro to the battle rifle. What is it? Why is it such a force multiplier? Why is it so significant? Why is it so misunderstood? It doesn't need to be misunderstood. It just needs to be applied in the right manner. That's all there is to it. Guys, don't forget, check out Gun Owners of America today. If you're not a member, become a member. We are actively fighting to defend and restore our Second Amendment. So that way, if we wanted to own a 12.5-inch one of these with a stock, you don't have to worry about the National Firearms Act. We are looking to dismantle it completely, and as it should be. And Monadnock Firearms. My homies over there have been supporters of the channel since legitimately day number one. God bless them. And if you're looking to get all of your Second Amendment joy off the ground, out of the back of your safe, displayed beautifully on your wall, check out Hold Up Displays. Made in America, highest quality wall you're going to be finding. The downside is 308 isn't getting any cheaper. God bless you guys. We'll see you next time.